Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. It is January of 2019, and in just 2 weeks, the long-awaited Resident Evil 2 remake will be ours. God, it feels good just to say that. Now, when I say long-awaited, I realize that for many of us, that's not the same amount of time as others. For some people, they've been waiting since the announcement made in 2015 that, the We Do It announcement. But most of us have been waiting longer. For me personally, I think I've been waiting for this for at least 2000, since 2002, when the GameCube remake of the first game came out. But I think it may have even been longer than that. When I was reading in a gaming mag back in the day that Resident Evil 1 was being remade on the GameCube, and it showed screenshots, and they looked, at the time, just fucking incredible. And when I saw those screenshots, I was like, well, looks like I'll be getting a GameCube. To be fair, I was going to get one anyway, just because that's how I am. And it's Nintendo that have been in my life all my life. But I knew then that, getting a GameCube was, fucking mandatory. And that's because it just looked... Resident Evil 1 was being remade, and it was amazing. Yeah, and so there was that part of me that was like, I hope they remake all of them. I fucking remake all of them, make them look incredible, and then let's go forward. This was before Resident Evil 4. This was before, the direction that Resident Evil went in after 4. So it's kind of heavy. This is the obviously the 30-minute one-shot demo, which really, Capcom, 30 fucking minutes, one time only. God, you bastards, why do you do this? Why do you do this? But yeah, it's heavy. This is heavy, but I do want to point out that I think some of you, even though you're hyped and you're psyched, I don't think you realize how significant this game actually is. And I'm not just overhyping it. This is significant for a couple of reasons. The first being that this game could possibly dictate the direction that Resident Evil goes in from here on out. I think a lot of us would agree with the notion that this is really the direction that Resident Evil should have gone in after Resident Evil 4. Going over the shoulder at the time was revolutionary, and then with Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6, it got too actiony, of course. They moved away from the horror. They had horror elements. The monsters were grotesque always, and the things they could do to you were horror, but it was kind of that sci-fi action horror that basically the Mila Jovovich movies were. Die-hard, old-school fans of Resident Evil have been clamoring for this. We've wanted horror back in our lives again, and from what I've played on this demo, it's back. It's back. I've said in the past that Dead Space, especially Dead Space 1, really proved that you could give a horror game, third-person, over-the-shoulder shooter controls, and it would still be, scary. And since we're not going to get any more Dead Space anytime soon, because Visceral Games was shut down by EA, bastards, we needed a reminder. Society, the gaming community, needed a reminder that a game with these kinds of controls, with this kind of perspective, could still be scary. And this is that reminder. It works. Trust me, it works. A lot of you discovered this channel from my Resident Evil content. Probably the 4chan leaks about Resident Evil 2 remake was the video that really brought a lot of you to the channel, but a lot of you discovered it even, one video prior with the video where I just expressed my disappointment that we heard nothing on the anniversary. And And so a lot of you know my position. I was wanting a remake in the vein of the first remake, you know, fixed camera angles, all that kind of stuff. But I also said in my, you know, 4chan video that I hadn't seen the remake, and none of us had, and who knows how we're going to feel when we finally do see something. And it turns out that was a good point, because a lot of us, even a lot of us that still, that wanted fixed camera angles and all that, our tune changed. What we saw was amazing, and it is amazing, and I do want to point out that, you know, now that I've gotten to play it, I mean, seeing trailers in action is one thing, but actually playing it, this could really work. A lot of us were afraid. A lot of us that still wanted. Well, we wanted it for two reasons. Nostalgia, number one, was the main reason we wanted a remake that was like the first remake. But the second reason was we feared that over-the-shoulder perspective would make the game too easy, the monsters too easy to take down, because we have very precise aiming. But no, it still works here, and Capcom has shown us that they can make zombies scary again. I mean, these one or two zombies you run into in this hallway, I mean, it's not anything like Dead Rising, where there's, you know, legions of zombies and you're not really scared. It's kind of comical, but there's lots of zombies on screen. Just these one or two, like if we had that many zombies to worry about that were these zombies in this game, oh, you'd be fucked. I mean, yeah, there's no action melee combat, there's none of that. These zombies are a real serious fucking threat, like they were back in the good old days on the PlayStation 1. And when you combine that with, you know, ambient noise and just random shit going on in the background, I found myself like a little bit on edge. I tried really hard to not watch a lot of gameplay videos of the demo from E3, so I kind of went into this kind of fresh. There were a couple moments where I was like, okay, yeah, I remember a zombie coming out of this part, yeah. But for the most part, I did a pretty good job, because, you know, I was on edge like the old days. You know, one of the RPD theme was, there's a moment in the track where it sounds like there's some loud noise, somebody knocks shit over. It used to fucking really trip me out back in the day, because every time we would get to it, you're like, oh, it's the music, oh, fuck. But, you know, that feeling, other than the music doing that, the music is good, I will say that, the new music is good, but the feeling of, like, I don't want to fucking be here, this place is fucking packed full of zombies, is there, in addition to wanting to explore. One of the things that pisses me off that this is only a 30-minute one-shot demo is, like, I want to explore, I want to check every fucking room, and just you can't have that in a fixed camera angle game, as much as it pains me to say. In the fixed camera angle game, the angles are meant to show you where every item is, and the items, you know, stand out. There's a little gleaming, you know, sparkle, and you can tell that's an item you can pick up. But in a game like this, you know, you want to search every drawer, you want to go through every corner, comb through every area, and that is new. Now, I will say this: there are two kinds of remakes. Okay, I don't care what Capcom says. They're like, it's not a remake; it's a reimagining. No, Capcom, this is the very definition of a remake, but it does fall into one of two categories for remakes. The first kind of remake is the kind of remake a lot of us die-hard fans were asking for, preserving the old game the way it was, but updating the graphics and, you know, maybe adding a few new bells and whistles to make it a little bit more fresh for the people that played the old game over and over again. I guess you could say there are three kinds. I believe Residents of Evil even discussed the first kind is just like, leave it alone, just update the graphics, but leave it alone. Don't change like anything else. You'll probably have to get new voice actors or get the old ones to come back so that the old sound bites don't sound shitty, but for the most part, leave it alone. And then there's the GameCube remake Resident Evil, where it's mostly the same game, but some things are changed, but it's mostly the same game. And then the third, and I really only consider there to be two kinds of remakes, and like the first two are sort of the same thing but different. So the other kind of a remake is when you remake it from the ground up with a modern control style, a modern angle, a modern everything. I'll give you an example. If they were to, of a game that doesn't exist, if they were to remake, let's say, like the Adventure of Link, Zelda 2, the second Legend of Zelda game. Now that game was, it was a side scroller. It was actually a side scroller. There was really no other Zelda game like it afterward. And it was a good game, very memorable, hard, but it was a good game. And then, like, when you would leave dungeons and stuff, it was sort of a top-down RPG. And then, like, but sort of like with random battles too. But even when there was a random battle, you know, it was a side-scrolling part. Good story, good everything. And there would be two ways for Nintendo to remake that. The first way is to make it the game it was, but, you know, maybe have the townspeople say more helpful things. I'd leave Error in there, because that's just fucking classic. I am Error. But, you know, give it modern graphics, and just leave it alone. Or they could take the story from that game and the order of the dungeons and the towns and all that, and give it like the Breath of the Wild engine, and it would be like Breath of the Wild, except it would be the story of the Adventure of Link. And frankly, that's the version I would prefer. But if they remade it the way it used to, but with modern graphics, I'd play the shit out of that as well. Like, I guess what it is do I trust? It comes down to if I believe that the company can remake it the second way. Because if you're going to remake it the second way, if you're going to do a top-down, from the bottom up, from scratch remake, it has to be fucking great. It has to surpass the first in like every way. And a lot of, I guess I don't trust in enough developers to do it the right way. And I'll be honest, I didn't really trust Capcom with that. And I didn't, because at the time, Capcom lost a lot of their top talent. I mean, they didn't have Shinji Mikami anymore. They didn't have Keiji Inafune. A lot of staff left to form Platinum Games and Shinji Mikami's Tango Gameworks. And they just didn't have their all-star staff that they still had. Yeah, they still had Hideaki Itsuno, director of Devil May Cry 2 and 3, and 4. But, you know, most of their old staff was gone, and I just didn't trust them. And when they finally revealed the Resident Evil 2 remake to us, you know, this past E3, there was this wave of relief that, like, yeah, these guys are putting fucking their heart and soul into this shit. I can tell. Like, this isn't just, you know, Resident Evil 2, but with, like, Resident Evil 4 controls, but, like, better. No, this is, like, they're trying to encapsulate everything you felt when you played Resident Evil 2 for the first time back in the day. And they're trying to give it to you, not only give it to us all over again, those of us who played the original, but they're trying to make damn sure that the people experiencing Resident Evil 2 for the first time are going to feel what we felt. And I can tell how much care and love they're pouring into this, and thus I am okay with it, for sure. Yeah, I'm relieved, in fact. I do think Square should probably go ahead and just make Final Fantasy VII the game it was, but with modern graphics, because I don't know if they know what they're doing. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But every time Square Enix tries something new with Final Fantasy, it doesn't go well for them. I know they don't want. Uh, I know they don't want the old turn-based RPG stuff, but it's what they used to do best, and I think they should just stick to what works. I'm willing to be proven wrong, but they should just stick to what they know. This is a case of like, fuck yeah, this is definitely working. This is gonna be awesome. I am there. Now, a lot of people have called for like, now remake Resident Evil 1 like this. I was like, no, no, you shouldn't. Number one, if they did that, they would probably replace fucking Matt Mullins and Julia Voth as Chris and Jill, respectively, and I don't want to fucking see that happen. Number two, this is the remake that you wanted. How about you play the remake of 1 for our sake the way it is? Like, we here are giving you, like, this is the remake that those of you who want remake 1 remade in this style, like, no, just play it the way it is, because we're playing this. I mean, I'm not going to just be a dick about it, though. I will say this. The key to enjoying a fixed camera angle game, especially Resident Evil, is embracing the tank controls. A lot of you, your first instinct is to use the analog stick, and that's going to get you into trouble, because, camera angles are going to change abruptly. You're going to end up turning yourself around. It's a mess. I get it. I get why you hate that. So embrace the tank controls, because that's how those games were played, and they work. It's going to be a little jarring at first. It was for us back in the day. You gotta remember, tank controls were exclusive to games like that, and when games like that first appeared, we weren't used to that. Again, I mean, I've said it 1,000 times. Nobody had really mastered 3D style controls, so we were glad to find a series of games that did it right, that found a way to just make it work. Those tank controls are meant for those games. Up moves you forward, down moves you backward, left and right turns the character. You will get used to it, I promise. You just have to embrace the tank controls. And then, once you do, you'll see it, and you'll love it. And you'll understand why we're always going on about it. Us fucking dinosaurs that want fixed camera angles to come back. You'll understand. I will say that. That is my pro tip. All right, to you is embrace the tank controls, and you will enjoy Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 0. I still think Resident Evil 0 shouldn't have fucking turned the run button to fucking circle. What is your fucking problem, Capcom? Jesus. Anyway, now for those of you who, like me, do love the fixed camera angles, if you want to support fixed camera angles, you have a chance this upcoming Tuesday when they release Onimusha Remastered. Yes, indeed, it is coming back. A lot of you have heard me talk about Onimusha. It was one of those games, like I said, it was like Resident Evil, but with feudal Japan and demons and samurai and stuff. Yeah. Now, what's interesting about this remaster of Onimusha is I was reading in the description in the PlayStation Store that it's going to have a new soundtrack, and I immediately knew why that was. A lot of you don't know this, but when they released the Resident Evil Director's Cut, they released it with a new composer, new music, and that composer was Mamoru Samarugochi, and he was supposedly a Japanese Beethoven. He was apparently deaf, but was a brilliant composer. Capcom used him for a few games after that, including Onimusha 1 for sure. I think he also did Onimusha 2, if I'm not mistaken. The music was great, but then it turns out that this guy was a fraud. He either wasn't like all the way deaf or whatever, but he had also hired a ghost composer to write the music for him. And man, it sucks. I don't know why you'd ever agree to something like that, but this Ghost Composer's music was great. I mean, it's kind of saddening to hear that, to learn that I'm not going to get the Onimusha with the good music it used to have, because the music was badass. But I can tell you right now that is probably 100% the reason why the new Onimusha has new music. That being said, I haven't heard the new music, so I'm sure it'll be awesome. But there you go. Already the new remastered Onimusha won't quite be the same as the old PlayStation 2 release. Also, they are adding like, yeah, analog stick 3D control, kind of like with Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 0. So you will be able to use the analog stick, and it might actually be better for that game, because it wasn't necessarily a horror game. It was very much, this was before Devil May Cry, but it was very much badass samurai action. It still had that tinge of horror, though. That's one thing that was really, really cool about that game. Onimusha was great. Definitely fucking check it out. I mean, it's one of my favorite games from the PS2 era of consoles. Onimusha 2 is probably my favorite in that series, but I loved them all. There is, however, one puzzle in Onimusha 1 that I want to warn you about. It's kind of like the kind of puzzle that you run into in Resident Evil 4 when you're playing as Ashley. It's like that, except it's timed, and it sucks. One more thing, though. A lot of people think there may be fixed camera angles, judging from some of the trailer. You know what I think that is, though? I think it's kind of like Resident Evil 6. There were like a couple of parts of Resident Evil 6 where the camera went fixed. Ada on the sub was one moment, and there was a part during like Chris and Pierre's campaign when they were like chasing after Ada, and like it was right before that scene where Chris and Leon meet for the first time. But that staircase, that the camera goes fixed. I think that's, to be honest, that's all it's gonna be. I could be wrong. I want to be wrong. Be nice if there's a secret way to unlock fixed camera angles, but honestly, that's kind of what I think it is. I hate to be Mr. Realistic here, but yeah. You know what else really bugs me? We are getting Resident Evil 2 in 2 weeks, and they're going to release it on a Friday. Yeah, I know that sort of coincides with the Japanese release date, but man, what is with Friday nowadays? Do you know why games traditionally have been released on Tuesday? I don't know why it's the case for like DVD and music and book releases, but I can tell you why it is for video game releases. Back in the day, back in the old Nintendo, Sega Genesis days, Sega had a brilliant marketing campaign arranged for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and it was called Sonic Tuesday. I don't remember what date it was. I'm kind of going off of memory here, but they were like, get your copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on Sonic Tuesday. And because before that, video games didn't have a set day when they came out. It was kind of like, if you've ever worked in retail, you just, when you get new shit in to the receiving area, you just kind of put it out. Oh, okay, new lamps, I'll just put that here. Okay, we got some new lamps, let's make room, put them out. Same thing with video games. When video games came, they put them out on the shelves, and so there was no point in asking the clerk, like, hey, when's this game coming? I don't know, kid, alright? We put them out when we get them, alright? That's how it was. Leave me alone. But yeah, that's how it was back in the day. And then Sonic Tuesday happened, and from that day forward, other games started following suit, and Tuesday kind of became the day for new video game releases. But nowadays, we're getting fucking Friday, and that is annoying. I know some of you out there who are like glass half full kind of people are like, well, just think you're getting it that Friday, so you don't have to wait till the following Tuesday. To which I would say, no, fuck that. It's bullshit. How about you release it on Tuesday so I don't have to fucking wait till Friday? How about that? Now, before I go, I do want to thank everybody who has subscribed to me in the past several months. I think I did pretty good last year. I think I put out, way more videos than I had in previous years. And a large part of that is because of you guys. And I don't want to disappoint, and I want to come out with good content for you. You know what video has been like a real sleeper hit? Which video of mine is like really that I'm still getting comments on, that I'm still getting subscribers on because of my fixed camera angle video. It's kind of funny. Like I probably got way more views off of the 4chan leak videos, but like I don't know, maybe not. I haven't checked, but I know for a fact I've gotten like more subscribers from my fixed camera angle video than any other video, so I wasn't expecting that. I'm glad to see there are a bunch of fucking nerds out there like me that care about shit like that and like game design mechanics and things like that, so I may put out more videos like that. In fact, I was kind of working on one before I made this video. And so I will be putting that one out soon. You can probably tell that the next video I come out with was being made before this one, because I start off by saying I hope everybody had a good New Year and holiday. But it's actually about Red Dead Redemption 2 and realism in video games, and what about real life should be emulated in games, and what about real life should not be emulated in video games. So expect that to come pretty soon. It's good to be back. Understandably so. I want to put out my next video very, very soon, and I will, because when Resident Evil 2, when Onimusha comes out, I'll probably be fucking busy with that. But then Resident Evil 2, fuck. Yeah, a lot of us are gonna be pretty busy with that. This was supposed to be a short video, guys. I'm trying. So sorry about the length, but I'll try better next time. Not with the next one, because that one's already kind of long. It's not like an hour long, but it's already kind of long. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys next time.